it's heartbreaking. It's very unfortunate. People in Gaza, they lived a real bloody night in the last 24 hours. They have been massacred, at least 32 massacres as Israel caused due to the air strikes since 24 hours. Children beneath rubbles, the wounded bleed on floor with no hospital beds. 8 hospitals and 25 health centers are out of service. Actually, it's a catastrophe. Israel dropped over 8,000 tons of explosive over civilians in Gaza. They are just chasing a ghost militant locations or sites couldn't find so fast. The alternative target for Israel is the merely helpless, defenseless civilians. Most of them, they are children. So far, 5,791 people were killed. Among them, there are 2,360 children, around 16,297 wounded. It's a real catastrophe. It's a real massacre. And this is really, and Israel has been unleashed. There is no limitation. There is no justification of such unjustified killing. All relief items which were allowed into Gaza, they are not even enough for the even 3% of the real need of the situation on the ground. Okay. I mean, food or medical items, food for children, it is not enough. We are talking about 20 trucks or 10 trucks. We are talking about 2,300,000 people living in a very small, tiny of land. And you can see the scene of destruction. What can 20 trucks or 4 trucks of relief can do in such situation? We need a permanent open doors for humanitarian aids. Civilians shouldn't be subjected to punishment because they live in Gaza or anywhere else.
Ambassador, if trucks have been let in, what do you think is holding the others up? Fuel has not been allowed to come in because they're afraid that Hamas will seize fuel. But all else, what do you think is holding this up?
No, actually, this is just I'm sorry to say, this is just a silly excuse, you know. I mean, Hamas is going to use the fuel, or hospitals, they are going to use it. People, you know, are getting operated without anesthesia, without generators. Generators we have, they don't have even fuel to use them for generators. So fuel is very necessary. It's not for Hamas. I mean, this is just another hardship, another, kind of, pressure on civilians, denying them their right of fuel, of light, or the necessity of life, the mainstay necessity of life. I'm talking about drinking water, most necessary food, medical relief items, and the fuel for light.
Mr. Ambassador, has the diplomatic lines with Israel for an end to this conflict opened?
It is not open. You know, Israel is not open to anybody. They only open when they need it to be, when they feel that they need to be open. Now they are calling that the whole world should put their hand off their war. They want to do everything they can do. They want to, I don't know how many thousands of civilians should be killed before Israel realized that they should stop war now. Israel is chasing a ghost militants. They cannot target them like that, and they're not. All they are doing is just taking revenge from the ordinary civilians living in Gaza. This is the problem. We are open to dialogue with everybody. Israelis, they are not talking to the Palestinian National Authority since 2014. Why they should talk now? We are open. We are asking them for a political dialogue. We are asking them to implement all signed agreements between us and them. But they are turning their backs. They don't want that. They believe that they can do everything. They can create facts on the ground. They believe that we are going to accept such, de facto on the ground, and this is not going to happen. Ambassador, they know that this is not going to happen.
But there have been talks, at least political talks between Israel and other countries. You've got the European Union, you've got the United States as well visiting, you've got Jordan, Egypt, and even Saudi Arabia trying to speak to them. And so now we've got 4 hostages released.
Irony
Can
is
you
that
say?
Israel is talking to them with conditions.
Okay.
You know, talking to America. America, you know, the whole American regime, the whole American government is Israel. President Biden came to Israel. Defense Minister came to Israel. Secretary of State came to Israel. The National Security Advisor came to Israel. Operation Director of Pentagon came to Israel. Everybody, there are thousands of military experts are serving in the Israeli armies. They are mobilizing war machine carriers, you know, in the eastern Mediterranean. So instead of pressuring Israel, using pressure Israel to come to its senses, to find a political solution for this problem, instead they are encouraging Israel to carry on and on its aggressions against the civilian people in Gaza. Actually, it's not only in Gaza. Even in the West Bank, there was no rockets, no killing by Hamas in the West Bank since October 7th till today. We have 95 people lost, killed by Israeli army and extremist settlers. We have 1,828 injured. In the West Bank alone, there was no operation. Israeli targeted refugee camp engineered by warplane, by F-16. They targeted a mosque, you know. So they cannot say they are after Hamas in Gaza. This is not the solution to be after Hamas or after anybody. The solution is to find a real acceptable political solution, you know, in accordance with international law, in accordance with international legitimacy decisions to implement. That's how security can be achieved.
The U.S. has been very clear about this, no? Opposing a call for ceasefire until hostages are released by Hamas. Give us your thoughts on that, and if that's even a possibility.
I'm not defending Hamas or anybody, but tell you something. I assure you, and I'm responsible for this statement, that even if Hamas releases all the hostages, they are not going to stop the war. You know, this is, you know, a very vindictive, you know, and revenge mentality they have. You know, it's a genocidal, you know, policies they are committing. You know, actually, you know, the whole, as you know, the agony is that while the whole international community is asking Israel to accept the right to Palestinians refugees to return back to their homelands, Israel now is pushing people out of Gaza. They are pushing people, asking people to leave Gaza to Egypt. They are just like pushing their own problem to make it as an Egyptian problem. This is the way Israel, they will never accept that this is a problem we have to solve.
Ambassador,
They always try to make their problem your problem, and then you have to solve your problem. They are not going to solve their own problems. Their problem is very simple. It's us, Palestinians, and they know what they want. We are just looking for our realization of our national rights, national aspiration of establishing an independent state of Palestine in the land occupied in 1967 with East Jerusalem as its capital. And they have agreed to do so 30 years ago. But they were very evasive, and the success
Ambassador, let's go back to the root of this. October 7, Hamas went into Israel, killed 1,000. Israelis took hostage 200. What do you think would be the reason for Hamas to conduct the attack? And there's criticism also that the Palestinian Authority has not condemned these killings by Hamas.
You know, first of all, we cannot condemn. If we're going to condemn or oppose or criticize, call it whatever we want, we are against the killing of civilians of all sides, not only Israeli sides. Our sides, all they are being killed every day in West Bank. why the world did not say that Palestinians have the right to defend themselves and strike back and kill Israelis? Why it's only when it only becomes Hamas, the world just stood up and say, okay, Israel has the right to defend itself, and that's the way, and that's where we have to start from. This is absolutely wrong.